Man down, man down.
Hoping and wishing and praying and waiting for something. Crying and hurting, alone and deserted, trying to find a way home. Have you ever been lost?
Man down, man up, risking self to rescue others.
It's good to be in the midst of the fellowship of believers this morning. As we take a moment to delve into the topic, man down, man up. When was the last time you heard the cry of man down? Are your spiritual ears attuned to these cries of men who have been wounded by life's weapons? If you heard the cries, when was the last time you risked self to rescue your brother who was wounded, a brother who was fallen in the line of enemy fire? Yes, I know we are not on the battlefields in Iraq or Afghanistan. We are not in the trenches and swamps of Vietnam, but we are in a battle for life itself. There are no deadly missiles and there are no landmines exploding around us, but make no mistake, there are weapons that are targeted at each and every man. Weapons so deadly, weapons so devastating that Paul put it this way when he said, we wrestle not against flesh and blood, but we wrestle against principalities and powers and wickedness in high places. There is a war going on, my friends, and God has called us to leave no man behind. Yes, but if we don't know where these men are, if we cannot identify them, then how in the world can we rescue them? If our spiritual sensitivity has been so dulled by the vicissitudes of our own life that we hear nothing, we see nothing, we feel nothing, and we are dead to the pain and suffering of our fallen brothers, then how in the world are we going to rescue the man down and move him to man up? So where are these men down? These men down whom God calls us to help. See, I knew you would ask that question. I knew you would ask that question. So let me tell you where these men are. These fallen men sometimes are incognito. As they try to be macho, they hide their woundedness behind the facade of bravery. You know how we men are. We feel no pain, we shed no tears, we never let them see us sweat. All the while we suffer in silence. But these men down are everywhere. In fact, the psalmist David gives us a clue when he said, 1,000 shall fall at thy side and 10,000 at thy right hand. And so often we recite that verse as a promise from God to us to keep us standing, to keep us in the upright position while those around us fall. But in that passage, it also declares the location of the fallen men. They are at thy side and at thy right hand. These men are down on your job. There are men down who attend the same school you attend. They hang out with you Saturday nights and play dominoes till the wee hours of the morning. These men down are everywhere. Sometimes these fallen men are righteous men, yeah? Just ask Solomon. He reminded us that even the righteous man falleth 7 times. Where are these men down? Some are in the room this morning. They sat next to you in your Sabbath school class. They conducted the song service. They lead out as deacons and elders. You just never know where the fallen man down might be. In fact, he might be you. He might be me. But in spite of the facade, in spite of the macho exterior that these men down, they have been hit by the weapons of mass destruction. Those very weapons that did not prosper against you, those weapons prospered against them, and they find themselves man down. They find themselves man down when a man gets laid off from the job after years of dedicated service. Man down, man down. After 11 months and counting of sending out hundreds of resumes, still unable to find a job. Man down. Man down when after 20 years a man is left holding the shattered pieces of a broken marriage. I'd say that there stands a man down. Oh, when the doctor looks a man in the eye and says there is nothing we can do, the cancer is too far gone. Man down. Man down. When Oakwood University calls you and the dean of students is on the other line and his first words are, "It's about your son. Can you talk in private now?" I get a sense that there is about to be a man down. When 6 federal agents bust into your office and read you your Miranda rights, I would say there is a man down. You know, a survey was done that identified some of the circumstances that are likely to drive a man into frustration, despondency, or bitterness. And this afternoon we will go over the 7 life circumstances most likely to get men down. We call them the 7 WMDs. And this is not weapon of mass destruction. Now, you may not have experienced any of these situations I just described. You may not have had to file bankruptcy after 20 years in business. You may not have had to face the chilling sentence of a judge sentencing you to years in prison. But I guarantee you that someone in your circle this morning, someone in your work, someone at your school, someone in your family, and even someone in your church in the pew right next to you might have gone through some of these experiences. And I got a word for you this morning. It's wait. If you have not experienced any of these, then just wait. Live a little longer. And every man, woman, boy, and girl in this room this morning has an appointment with disappointment. And these circumstances weigh heavily upon us and bring us down. But just to be clear, it is not the circumstance that brings us down. It is not the circumstances that represents this place of down. It is the reaction, our reaction to the circumstance. You know, Lou Holtz, a famous college coach, once said, life is 10% what happens to you and 90% how you react to what happens to you. It is not losing the job that causes you depression and sadness. It is our reaction to the job loss. You see, some of us hated the job we lost on. We rued the fact of having to go to work every day. You know, I remember as a young lad growing up in Trinidad, we lived in the country, And though my dad was a full-time minister, he sort of fancied himself as a builder, you know, a do-it-yourself kind of guy. So there were times he would ask me to carry a heavy load of rocks or wood. One day, as I was struggling carrying the load, he stopped me and said, "Put it down. You're carrying it wrong." Now, in my teenage mind, I wondered, how many ways could there be to carry a box of rocks? Anyway, my dad said, "You're carrying the load wrong," and then he proceeded to show me a better way to carry the box. Reluctantly, I tried it. An amazing thing happened. The box that previously felt like 1,000 pounds must have lost 900 pounds. I couldn't believe how light the load had become. See, God has a better way to carry life's loads. A way to carry it that doesn't result in man down. In our ministry, Men of Belvedere, our ministry is to show others a better way to carry their loads. But my dad looked at me and asked, "Now, isn't that easier to carry?" And then he added, "It's not how heavy the load is, but it's how you carry the load." See, God calls us to show our brothers who are burdened down by life's loads. He calls us to show them a better way to carry their load.
Man up. Man down, man up, risking self to rescue others.
Now, I know you might be saying, Brother Murray, just 1 minute. You don't know my situation. I am so man down that I am the last person in the world who could help another man down. If you only knew how man down I am, how beat down I am, how broken down and burdened down I am. You see, it's this I got my own problems syndrome that sometimes makes us feel incapable, makes us unwilling, makes us feel unworthy of risking ourselves to rescue another man down. Yeah, but there is this paradoxical plurality of life that we sometimes find ourselves both down and up at the same time.
So this morning, let me set the table for us as we lay down the map for our discussion. In our time together this morning, we will delve into 5 fundamental issues. Man down, man up, risking self to rescue others.